What are we doing, baby?
I feel like you put me on the spot. All right, what are we doing? We're about to drill in our rebar, the holes for our stub up for the rebar, or for the walls, excuse me. We are going to go every corner, every fifth hole, and every door and window jamb will have something stubbed up. This 1/2-inch rebar will be stubbed up there. So what we'll do is we'll take our hammer drill and we'll drill a 1/2-inch hole 4 inches deep, and we'll vacuum that sucker out, and then I'll throw a little flag in it so I know it's done, and then we can move on down the line. Once we get down there, we can start entertaining the epoxy. I don't really want to mess with the epoxy unless I can drill all the way down here and then get out there and go ahead and uncover that stuff. Otherwise, because once we open that stuff up, I don't think it's going to be good the next day. So, and it's $30 a tube. But it's important. It's important to overdo it as many times as you can. All right. Here's a tool we like to use all the time, huh, baby cakes?
Yeah.
Our Bosch hammer drill.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Because my bit is 4 inches long, I'm just gonna bury it. Yeah, and that puts our rebar down 4 inches. It's a little bit longer than 4 inches, but not by much. And then we'll vacuum all the holes out. Yeah, I'll just bounce down this wall and drill all the holes, and then I'll fall back and hook up the vacuum, and we'll go through and vacuum it.
Okay.
And hopefully that'll get everything out of the hole. If not, we'll get the air compressor out with the blowgun, and we'll blow the dirt out. So I'm not going to go 5 after that hole. I'm going to just count 5 from that hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam!
We're up here cutting some more rebar, but the power keeps going out because we're drawing too much on it, I think.
Yeah, we got 100-foot
Extension cord going, so
with a big saw. Yeah, it's just drawing too much.
not enough power for that little bitty cord. So,
We're good.
all right, let's get back in business.
Back in business. That vacuum really sucks.
So we vacuumed out all the holes. Now we're gonna go ahead and just blow out any extra dirt that may be in there. So Marcel's gonna work his way around and get it cleaned up, right babe?
Yeah, because that vacuum cleaner sucked. I just hope this thing don't blow. All right, here we go.
Okay. Well, with all the learning curves that we've been thrown lately, learning the block, today was a pretty super easy day. So we got some more of our rebar cut up. Marcel drilled some holes.
Why?
So we could, why did we do it, babe? Why would we do something like that?
Because we crazy.
It's to reinforce the walls.
Yeah, so best case scenario, we would have pushed all the rebar into the concrete before it dried on the perimeter of this to stub up through our walls. So we are not professionals, and even the professionals struggle to get that correct. You end up bending rebar over or removing it altogether.
Right.
So the solution to that is to just do your rebar after the fact. You drill the holes where it goes in the center of the cell, and you can epoxy and set that rebar down into the concrete.
Yeah.
So to make those possible, what we did was we drilled a hole, we vacuumed, we blew the hole out, and
with the air compressor.
With the air compressor. So that gives us as clean of a surface as possible, because epoxy is so thick it's not going to like absorb into the concrete powder. Right? It wouldn't be a good bond. So, and this stuff works really, really good. A little bit goes a long way. If you put too much in the hole, you end up with a nightmare. You can't hammer the stuff down in. It wants to push it back out. It could be a nightmare, but if you use it correctly, it's like as strong as the concrete.
So after cutting the rebar and drilling the holes, our next step will be to actually put the rebar in the holes. But since we're having some rainy weather, we decided not to go with it, and it's cold, so we don't want to fight the epoxy any more than we're going to.
Right. Well, I'm more concerned about the cold than I am the rain. Right, the epoxy will set up quick enough if it rained, the little bit of rain that we'll get. Now, if it was
Yeah.
floating, it would be bad news. But what we can't have is frozen epoxy.
Right.
So, because then it just doesn't dry right and it'll crack. So, right now, we've got everything prepped. We've ground the edges off of our rebar, so when we hammer it down, we don't got big burrs sticking out. We'll keep our epoxy in the house overnight. And we'll wait for the sun tomorrow to hit this black plastic, because it'll heat that block up and the concrete up, and then we can work fast. So the reason we did everything first is because if you try to do each one of these holes, drill it, clean it, put the epoxy in, that epoxy is hard to work with.
Right.
And if it's cold out here, it's like, it's almost impossible. Right? You start making decisions like, let's not use it.
Yeah. So we went ahead and prepped everything up so we have the best chance to use it when the time comes.
Right. Yeah, everything is ready.
So it's like an anchoring epoxy. It just secures the rebar into
the concrete.
Right. Right.
So if your house is going that direction, you probably got more problems. I think what they're trying to get is like, so your wall, if your wall does tip, it doesn't tip all the way over. It's anchored to the slab. So I actually put extra in here on top of the extra that we already put because peace of mind. Because we've got grout lines that are a little bit thicker than we want, and it's on our very first row. So I just added a few extra pieces of rebar in there too, because if you stub that stuff up 2-3 blocks high, then it dissipates all that pressure on that bottom block inside of that concrete, which is going to help. And I know it's overkill, but whatever, man.
Well, for peace of mind, we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, some people think we're crazy, and some people will be like, what the heck are you talking about?
So we did overdo it a little bit with the rebar in the front of the house.
Only on this corner because it's a 1/2 inch low.
Yeah.
So what I did was I made sure there's a piece of rebar in every single block on this corner. One piece of rebar. So it gets a lot anyways already, because we have a piece of rebar every 5 cells. We have one every corner, and we have one in every jamb. So there's a door and a window in here. Right. So on the jambs, I did 2 for the jamb. Right. I did one that'll go all the way up to the bottom of the plate steel or the lintel, and then the next one over will go all the way up to the top. Right. Right. So it'll be one solid. And I know that that's overkill too, but it's peace of mind, man. This thing's going to be like, it's going to be like tank proof. Yeah.
So we got that done today, and our next step will be to move on to our second course after that.
Yeah. So we've had questions about the rebar. Hopefully this will answer
some of them.
We don't usually have the answers until we get to the phase, because I'm researching this stuff as I go pretty much. Like I had a general research and a general idea on what was going to happen, and right now I wait till the phase and then I tap into the resources that I have, just to figure out this rebar placement. Man, I talked to everybody. Yeah. I called Gary with SLR. I called Jay, my boy from Denver. He's a concrete and flooring and everything specialist of the world. And I called my best friend and my mentor, Ben, who also, that guy's been in this field his entire life. Straight out of the womb, I think. He was construction. So, and he understands the way I ask the questions, like an inexperienced person would ask. Right. He can understand what I'm saying, and he always answers my questions right on point. And here we are today with some answers. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, so thank you guys always for helping us out when we need it.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, so we've just been tugging along on this build, and we're going to keep going, you guys. We're going to rock and roll.
Yeah, there's more questions. Like, where do we live? We ain't telling you guys. I don't remember. We need to just do like a Q&A thing sometime, because we've been asked multiple times about why we didn't build the corners first, because that's what professionals typically do. Right. We're not professional, right? So I know that's what professionals typically do, and we researched it and we seen it, and those guys kick butt, man. But I can't do that. I mean, I probably could, but I'm not experienced enough. What happens if I build this corner and I build this one off just a little bit, right? Then it's too late. I have to work those courses just like that. The stringer poles, as long as they're plumb level, everything is plumb level and square, it's the same concept as
The corners.
building the corners, except for I can do it one line at a time all the way across. So I don't find out later on that one of my corners is off just a little bit, and then my wall's like, you know, and that's,
Yeah.
I know that's what they do, and they're fast, and people can set blocks like greased lightning. But we're gonna be slow, and we're gonna do it right.
Yeah, we've built some things before, and the reason why we are trying to be really particular about being perfect is because we know by the time we're done with it, it'll be out. So with that said, we're trying to be as close. That way, when it comes to the end, it's not a big problem.
Yeah. Well, you want to look for this stuff in the beginning anyways.
Right.
We're starting on you know, uneven and unlevel concrete to start with. So
Right.
it's already that much we have to
Harder.
contend with.
Right.
For somebody that doesn't have experience, we're trying to learn how to make those adjustments and not overdo it or underdo it.
Yep.
You know, so, and I'll just overdo everything if given a chance.
Yeah.
You know, that's the insecurity and the inexperience.
Yep.
So, but we can do it. You know, we can learn to do it. We're just going to do it super slow, man. Do it super right, hopefully.
It's easier that way, because then if we do make mistakes, they're not as crucial or like as big. You know, we didn't just do 2 courses and realize that we made a mistake on the previous course.
Now that I have some started, and if I got a rainstorm, I certainly would. I'll go across this wall here.
In the
and
back.
And then if I still have time, I'll probably try to build some corners. Because I already have a baseline to go off of to stack every time now.
Right.
So it's different. But when you just start out getting that stuff lined up and perfect, and I know it's still the same thing, I know. But, like, it'd be sweet because we got a lot of cool string lines that work off of building your corners, like the bone line, right? And the block line. So we're using the block lines on the stringers, but the bone line sits on the top of a block, so it'll hit our other string. So it's really kind of useless now.
Well, everyone.
And that's why I like Reese's Pieces better than Hershey's bars, because s'mores was just never put together correctly. Without a Reese's, it's just not a s'mores.
Well, you guys, if you've made it this far, thank you guys so much for tagging along with us. We appreciate you. If you guys enjoy our content, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up, ring that notification bell, share our videos.
Heck yeah, man. Share them with everybody.
And thank you guys for watching.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.